strong background spanning multidisciplinary engineering, information technology, hospitality, and financial services, Emmanuel Michael has been a highly sought-after professional in the field of human resources management for over 2 decades. He currently serves as the Director of Human Resources at Echo Hotels and Suites, leading a team of HR professionals in fostering a people-first culture at one of Africa's premier hospitality brands. In addition, he is the chair of the HRCI Certification Council. Are you hearing? Are you hearing? Where he plays a pivotal role in advancing global HR standards and professional certification. From March to August 2017, EM served as the interim CEO and head of HR at Letshego MFB, a national microfinance bank in Nigeria. As the head of people and culture at Letshego, Nigeria, he contributed significantly to the organization's growth and development. EM's vast expertise and influence have earned him numerous awards and accolades, including recognition as one of the 100 most influential global HR leaders, 2018, and one of the 101 global HR heroes, 2019. He was named a top-rated influencer on the most inclusive HR influencer list by Social Microl in 2019, and recognized as one of the top 50 personalities on LinkedIn in Nigeria the same year. In 2020, EM's contribution to the global HR community was further recognized with several honors, including 501 are you hearing? Most fabulous global HR leaders, top 8 HR thought leaders in Africa, top 3 best revenue supporting HR. I am not seeing the emojis flying. I am not seeing the comment section on fire. Please, or do I stop? Including also 30 top Black HR influencers to follow, top 50 career influencers in Africa, top 11 HR leaders to follow. Now you see why I said I needed to read this out. Like I can't, cram all of this and have all of this on my head and then start spinning it out to In 2022, he was listed among the 40 HR leaders and innovators in Nigeria to follow, the 122 top CHROs. You know who a CHRO is, Chief Human Resource Officer, and then the top 200 biggest voices in leadership. He was recently recognized as HR Most Influential Movers and Shakers at HR Expo Africa Work Festival 2025. A subject matter expert with the CIPM, the same CIPM all of us are, trying to gain certification, professional certification from. He's a subject matter expert with the CIPM Nigeria and HRCI USA. EM is also the founder and host of HR with M, hashtag HR with M, a platform that provides an opportunity to connect, to learn, and share on everything related to leadership, career development, and employee experience. The Nigerian HR community affectionately calls him the HR celebrity. At this point, I can't say it is standing ovation because virtually, but if you can turn on your video, at this point, we need to turn on our video if you're in a conducive environment, and let's just give like a welcome, an applause to our very own Emmanuel Michael. Sir, you're welcome, and we are so excited. We are blown away, and we can't wait to have or to listen or to digest all that you have for us. So please, can we turn on our video? Every one of us, if you're in a conducive environment, turn on your video and unmute your mic, and let's welcome Mr. Emmanuel Michael.
Welcome.
Can we turn on our videos, please?
Nice having you here.
Welcome, sir.
We're glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you. I'd love to have you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for
Glad
those who
to have you, sir.
attended. Happy to have you. Happy to have you. So you see, we are excited. I mean, with this excitement, everything virtue should come out of you, please. We need virtue to come out of you, but we are so excited to have you. So we are going right into the session, and thank you for having me. I am your host and your moderator, Agape Asanga. Thank you so much, and have an amazing session.
Okay, so thank you very much. So I believe you can all see my screen and you can also hear me well. So use the chat box to let me know, or emojis to let me know that yes, you can see me and you can hear me clearly. Okay, great. So this session is being recorded uh, for the benefit of those who are not able to join, or for the benefit of those who would like to have a replay. You know, you want to play back. So it's currently being recorded, and we are also streaming live right now on YouTube. So as Agape is going to share the YouTube URL, just in case we get to the point where the room is full, people can continue to watch via YouTube. So I'm going to go right straight into my presentation. So I'm going to be speaking to us on becoming a global leader in HR, mindset, skills, and introduction, and strategies. Okay, so let me tell you briefly about my HR journey, which is where I would like to start. So in November 2003, I started my HR journey in a local organization. Local organization in the sense that company here in Nigeria, though it was an international brand, but I had zero global exposure. That was my first time of venturing into HR, and I've never had any global exposure. Okay, I've always worked a local boy here in Nigeria from one local village, right? But today, as we speak, I have spoken on international platforms, both in Nigeria, in Europe, the US, the Americas, Asia. I've also worked with global partners. I've coached clients across continents. So what is it that changed? My job didn't change. I'm still in Nigeria. I still operate in Nigeria. But my mindset is what is different. And that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. And so Agape has already read out my profile. And you can see from that profile, you will notice that there are several global recognitions for the work that I do. So which means I'm not just known only in Nigeria, but known across the globe. So why does it matter for you to become a global leader in HR? The first reason is that the world is global, okay? So today we're talking about remote teams, we're talking about global talent wars, we're talking about international HR trends. And because the world of work is global, there is the need for you to be able to play in that particular global space. And that is what will make you be relevant. If you know only things about Nigeria or Namibia or Zambia, wherever you are joining us from, okay? If you know things only about the HR space in that particular country or that locality, that's not enough for you to become a global player. HR leaders must shift from being local administrators to becoming strategic global influencers. You can see that currently I sit as the chair of the HRCI Certification Council all the way in the United States, but I'm based here in Nigeria, and I'm influencing the standards for HR certification across the whole world. So that is what we all need to aspire to be. And then what I'm going to be sharing today, I'm going to be addressing everyone. It doesn't matter your current category. Agape has shared about 5 different categories of people who are members of the HR Newbies, right? So my presentation today is going to address everyone. Whether you are in school or you are leading a team, it's important for you to have that global mindset, you know, to practice as a global HR, to influence global HR practices, policies across the world. So what is my message to you? My message to you is that global leadership in HR is not about your location. So don't say, okay, I've not been able to work abroad, I've not worked in another country, and so I can't be a global HR leader. So global HR leader is not about location. It's simply about impact. What sort of impact are you making? You can be sitting here, as I'm sitting here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm touching everyone across the globe. That is what it means, okay? It's about thinking, what sort of mindset do you have, okay? Are you thinking small? Are you thinking big? Are you thinking local? Are you thinking global? So what sort of thinking do you have? Then it's also about value. What sort of value do you bring to the profession? Okay. I love to volunteer my time. And if you look through my LinkedIn profile, you will see that I've volunteered in several organizations, both in the UK, both in Asia. There was a time I was a mentor for the Cherry Blair Foundation. Okay? So these are opportunities for me to be able to showcase and share the knowledge that I've acquired, what I've learned, in the course of the journey of my career. And so that value, if you don't share what you know, you will not be helping other people to get better. So that's basically my message to you. You do not have to relocate to think and lead globally in HR. Let me say it again. You do not have to relocate to think and lead globally in HR. You just need what? The right mindset, the right skills, and clear strategies. And those are the things we're going to be talking about. What sort of mindset do you need to have? What are the skills that will enable you become this global leader in HR? And what are the strategies that you need to deploy? Now, let me address everyone in the room. I know we all belong to different categories, and so I'm going to show us the path to global relevance, depending on where you are right now. What do you need to do to become relevant globally? So let's start with those in school. Okay, so if you are a student and you're on this call, you're still studying HR, you're in university, or you're in a college, anywhere that you're joining us from, the first thing that you need to do, or your path to global relevance, is that there is need for you to learn globally, even though you are studying locally. Learn globally, even though while studying locally. And what do I mean by that? There is need for you to join international HR communities. So you are in your local community or in your country. Yes, the first thing usually that I will advise is, let's say, for instance, we're in Nigeria, join CIPM, right? CIPM has communities, chapters, branches, join that. But in addition, there is need for you to join international HR communities, identify international HR communities. And I've given an example of HRCI. Because I work for the HRCI, or I volunteer for the HRCI, I'm very biased towards HRCI. So I always recommend HRCI first, right? When it talks about international HR community. So join an international HR community. There is one, HRCI has one. So I encourage you to go online. On LinkedIn, you will find the link to join the HRCI community, where we call it HRCI Engage. That's what we call it. So join that particular community. Take online courses, online HR courses from platforms like Coursera, EDX, or LinkedIn Learning. There is need for you to follow global HR thought leaders. Okay? Follow global HR trends. What this will do for you is that it will widen your perspective. When I started my HR role, the very first month when I was engaged in the HR role, I began to search for global best practices or global communities, thought leaders in HR. Today, I'm connected to Dave Ulrich, and this is someone who is the father of modern HR. We are connected and we exchange messages. Okay, there was the last time during the CIPM conference, I was instrumental in bringing him on board to speak at our conference. So follow global thoughts, global HR thought leaders. Start a blog, okay, or a social media page to share what you are learning. If you don't have one, you can actually start today. And LinkedIn is a very good social media page. If you're on Twitter or X, you can also use that. If you're on any social media platform that you find yourself, begin today to share what you are learning. Those are some of the things that I did that helped me, that made me to become very visible out there, and people began to recognize me. So it's that when you mention my name, people will want to, even someone who haven't heard about me, as soon as you mention my name and they search for me online, they will want to have something to do with me. So this is for the students who are listening to us this evening. And so what is my practical tip to you? Write a short post on LinkedIn after each class. Your perspective matters. So as you take your lectures in class, at the end of each class, write a short post, put it on LinkedIn. People will begin to engage with you. You become very visible as a student. And that is how you begin to prepare the ground for your global relevance. Okay? So let's look at fresh graduates. Those of you who have just finished university and you've graduated. What is your own path to global relevance? There is need for you to build a solid foundation with global contexts. Build a solid foundation with global context. What do I mean? Look out for internship opportunities, okay, with organizations that serve international clients or teams. Attend virtual global HR events and webinars, and we have lots of them. You just need to search, especially on LinkedIn, and you will find one, okay? Or even if you use the Google search, you will find one. And a foundational international HR certification. And like I said, I'm HRCI biased, go for APHRI. Okay, if you just graduated and you want to earn a foundational international HR certification, you can register with the HRCI and earn APHRI. Then there's need for you to volunteer your time, okay? When you're building your career, there will be lots of opportunity, and they don't wait for only opportunities that will pay you money. Look for opportunities that will pay you in terms of the experience that you will gain, right? So volunteer for non-profit or startups that have global operations. So one thing that also helped me was that the company that I worked with, even though it was local, it had international or global affiliation. And that also helped me to be able to get ideas in addition to the communities that I joined, right? So what's my practical tip for you as a fresh graduate? Create a simple HR portfolio online. And you can use Google Drive to do that, to showcase your learning, internships, and insights. So create an Excel file or a Word document where you'll be putting together all these experiences, the learning, things that you are learning, because you will then, those are the things that will form the basis for what you begin to share with the world. Now let's look at entry-level HR professionals. So these are the categories of people who are members of the HR newbie community. And I felt there's need to address each person's unique or need, right? And so that's why I'm taking it from this particular angle. So entry-level HR professionals, what's your own path to global relevance? The path to your global relevance is to ask for cross-functional or regional projects at work. So when you are in the office, don't just sit to say, this is just my work. Look for opportunities that will enable you to work with people in other functions, not just the HR function. Look for opportunities that will enable you engage with people on a regional basis outside your territory, outside your region, okay? So there's need for you to learn HR tech tools. Look out for HR information system. Even if your organization doesn't have one, there are several HR softwares that are available. Sign up for a demo, okay? Applicant tracking system, remote onboarding platforms. Look out for all these HR tech tools. Learn how to use them and begin to master them. Request to support HR reporting, HR metrics, or policy research across regions, okay? Look for such opportunities. Use LinkedIn to share your reflections on your HR experiences and what you are learning from global trends. The only way you become visible is when you share. If you take in a lot and you don't say it out, people will not know what you have inside of you. So as you're taking them in, you should also be sharing. So people get to know that, okay, this person or this professional has a global mindset, right? So what's my practical tip for you, the entry-level HR professional? Start what I call a global HR trends notebook. So once a week, document a trend and how it applies to your current role. Start a global HR trends notebook. Once a week, document a trend and how it applies to your role. Now let's look at mid-level HR professionals who are listening to me right now. What's your path to global relevance? There's need for you to shift from tactical to strategic thinking. So you are used to doing things because you are at mid-level, you are just too operational, too tactical. You need to begin to move from those operational, tactical to strategic thinking, okay? And how do you go about doing that? There's need for you to join international HR networks, participate in forums or HR roundtables, okay? Take a specialization, pick a particular angle of HR or domain in HR. It could be global talent management, it could be diversity and inclusion, it could be digital HR. Take a specialization, learn something deep about a specific area in HR. So for me, my own specialization is strategic HR management, okay? So I'm always interested in anything that has to do with strategy. How would the people, okay, how will the people, activity, operations in the organization help that organization achieve its strategic goal? That is usually my own interest. So, and that is the specialization. So every day I keep reading, I keep learning about strategic HR management. How do we get this organization to achieve its goal using people, right? So mentor entry-level HR professionals. So there are other HR professionals who are coming up. Begin to mentor them. And I did a lot of mentoring. I mentored so many people. Until today, I'm still mentoring, even though not as much as I used to do before, but I still mentor people, okay? So leadership is the global currency. You can only grow higher when you mentor people around you who can take over what you're currently doing. That will give you a space to be able to move higher. And that has always been my mantra. So whenever I get into an organization, I try to make sure I empower the people around me so that it gives me and frees me my time so that I can do more strategic things. Attend global conferences virtually or in person. So there are global conferences organized or hosted by HRCI, CIPD, or Association for Talent Development. Identify these global conferences. Some of them are free. You know, you might say, okay, they are all paid. Some of them are free. Find those ones and attend these conferences. So what's the practical tip here? Start positioning yourself as a thought leader by speaking at webinars, publishing articles, or sharing HR case studies, okay? So this is the way you position yourself as a thought leader. Look for opportunities to speak at webinars. Start from the small, what do you call it, communities, and then you move on. When you've spoken at small communities, local communities, these regional bigger webinars will begin to see you. So you have some sort of digital asset or proof to show that, okay, you're a good speaker, and they will invite you to the bigger stage. Publish articles, write posts, articles. Like I keep saying, LinkedIn helped me so much to showcase me to the world. All the awards that you see Agape read out, all were because of what people saw me doing on LinkedIn, okay? So for the senior level HR professionals who are on this call, your path to global relevance, there is need for you to expand your influence beyond the organization. Your influence should not just be within the organization that you work. Let it go beyond that. And how do you do it? You do that by joining global HR advisory boards or contribute to white papers. So you can see, I currently sit on, what do you call it? On HRCI certification board. So before I had the opportunity of seeing, I started by volunteering my time to this global HR body. Okay. And that was how I was identified. And before you know it, one thing led to the other. And I found myself sitting at the Certification Council as a member. From being a member of the Certification Council, I then moved on. I started first as a subject matter expert or item writer, as we call it. From being a subject matter expert, I moved to become a member of the Certification Council, became the what do you call it, the vice chair of the Certification Council and chair of the nomination subcommittee of the council, and then now I'm sitting as the chair of that particular council. Okay, so there's need for you to join Global HR Advisory Bodies, identify them, contribute to white papers, international thought piece on HR, drive transformation projects that align with global HR standards. So in your organization, are you driving transformations that align with global HR standards? If you are not, you need to begin to do something like that. Speak at international events. Look out for internet. I've spoken at several international events. In July now, I'll be going to Botswana to speak. In Botswana, I've spoken at an event in UK. I've spoken at an event in the US. Spoken at an event in Italy. You know, so identify international events, and there are several of them, either physical or virtual. I also spoke at an event that happened in Namibia. Okay, so identify international events and speak at those events. Okay, use your influence to shape inclusive, scalable people strategies. And what is the practical tip for the senior level HR professionals who are listening to me? There's need for you to develop and share a framework or model based on your experience that would help to position you as a global expert. There was someone who said that they are transitioning, right? So I also have a message for you. So for those of you, those professionals, business development to HR, or from whatever it is to HR, you also have a path to global relevance. And what do you need to do? There's need for you to leverage your previous experience to bring fresh perspective. Okay, leverage your previous experience to bring a fresh perspective. If you check, you notice that most people who are in HR, maybe they're coming from different background. Okay, for me, I didn't study HR. Okay, I studied stenography. From stenography, I moved to networking. So I became a certified network engineer. And from being a certified network engineer, I then moved into HR. So you can see I've moved from, I also transitioned from something else to become HR. HR was not the first course that I studied. Focus on HR functions that align with your past profession. So let's say, for instance, you are a teacher and you say, okay, I want to move into HR. You will notice that if you are focusing on your past profession, right? It means that because you are a teacher, you will fit in more in learning and development. So that's basically what you need to look at. What am I doing now? Which function in HR will I be able to transfer this knowledge, this experience that I currently have? Okay, so it could be project management, it could be coming from operations or communication. Identify which aspect of HR, which aspect of the HR function that aligns with this past profession that you're coming from. Take HR specific courses to close the gap and align with global best practices. So when you see what the gaps are, identify HR specific courses that will help you close these gaps. Okay. Then what do you then do? What do you do next? You begin to share your transition journey. Okay. Share your journey, how you're moving from what you're doing currently to where you are going. Okay. Your voice will inspire others. That's something you need to do. There are several other people who are in that same situation that you've been, and they are asking themselves, how do I transition? Your story will help them to move. Then next thing you need to do is to build an intentional network in both your old and new profession. Okay, build an intentional network. So my practical tip for you is to document your transition. You can say LinkedIn again. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, make sure by the time we finish this session today, you create a LinkedIn profile for yourself. So document your transition on LinkedIn. People hire people with clarity, courage, and curiosity. So are you a person of clarity? Are you a person of courage? Are you a person of curiosity? There are others who are looking for you, and maybe you'll be the one that will snatch for that particular job. So that's basically that. So let's look at mindset. So we said for you to become a global HR leader, mindset is key. So let's look at mindset. So there's what I call the task mindset. You need to have the task mindset, TAS. What does TAS mean? Think, act, and stay. This is the mindset that you need to have, the think, act, stay mindset. What are you supposed to be thinking about? How are you expected to act? And when I say stay, stay where? That's the question that needs to be answered, right? So there's need for you to think global, act local, and stay human. Okay? Think global, act local, and stay human. This is the mindset that you need for you to become a global leader in HR. So there's need for you to have first a growth mindset. And when I talk about growth mindset, you need to embrace learning. The best HR leaders are always students. I'm still studying, I'm still reading. You will notice yesterday I had to share I renewed my certifications, right? So I only renew your certification because you keep updating yourself. So when you update yourself, you renew your certifications. I just renewed some of my certifications yesterday, and I shared them either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I shared them online. So I'm studying, I'm reading every day. I have a book that I'm reading right now, okay, on strategic HR management, on leadership. So mistakes are lessons, not failures. When you make a mistake, take them as lessons. Don't see mistakes as failures. Because you made a mistake doesn't mean you failed, but you've learned how not to. Okay, and then it needs to be able to avoid, and then you can use it to teach others who are coming after you. So there's need for you to have a growth mindset. The other thing that you also need to be very much interested in is cultural intelligence, right? So there's need for you to understand, respect, and adapt to cultural differences. So if you want to become a global HR leader, you get to work with people who are not from where you come from. They don't speak the same language as you. They don't have the same culture. Okay, so you need to identify how do you deal with people from different cultures. Okay, understand those cultures and adapt to those cultural differences. So I gave an example here. I said the hiring norms in Nigeria and the hiring norms in Germany is not the same. So there's usually something in Nigeria when you want to hire, there are certain questions you can ask someone and it's not an offense. But if you're hiring people, say, in the North American region, there are certain questions you will ask that will be termed being discriminative. Okay? So it means you need to understand all those things. So there are different expectations around formality and time when you compare Nigeria and Germany. Thinking is very key. So you need to have what we call strategic thinking. You need to be a strategic thinker, right? You need to see beyond just HR operations. Don't just think HR operations. You need to think, how do I align the people with the business goals? We want to, for every people initiative that you're recommending, how will it help the organization achieve its business goals? If you cannot show a link between the people initiative and growing the business, then you know you are doing the wrong thing. Sometimes you notice that an HR professional will come or manager will come to the CEO and say, I think we need to do this for our employees. When we do it, they'll be happy. But you are not showing that CEO how those things you want to do that will make the employees happy. How will it translate into money for the organization? How will it help the organization to reach a particular business goal? Okay. So you need to always have the business goal in mind and then think of what do I need to do to the people that will help them become excited about the job and then help the business achieve its goals. So see beyond just HR operations. There is need for you to think, how does this policy impact our global competitiveness? Okay, you need to be agile, you need to be adaptable. So global HR leaders are flexible. So if you take a case of the COVID-19, you notice that HR took the front seats to manage that particular crisis. Okay, so be open to hybrid work, be open to remote teams, be open to cross-cultural talent. You also need to be a purpose-driven leader. And by purpose-driven leader, basically I'm saying there's need for you to ask yourself, how is my work improving people's life in and beyond my country? So if you take example of my own work, you can see the impact is there, not just in Nigeria, not just in the company that I work for, even in companies outside. Okay, companies within the country, companies outside the country, they are being impacted by the kind of work that I do. Okay? So you need to be a purpose-driven leader. Ensure that for every step that you take, that you are mindful of the impact of how that will help improve people's life. So in summary, what I'm trying to say is that your mind is your passport. Your mind is your passport to becoming a global leader in HR. So think globally, act wisely, and lead impactfully. Okay, so we're moving on. So that's basically about mindsets. We're moving on to what sort of skills now do you need? What are the essential skills for global HR leadership? So if we're still there, can I see some emojis to be sure that we're all still there? Are we still there? Can you all still hear me clearly, loud and clear? Can I see some emojis, please? Okay, so we are still together. Great. Okay, so let's go on. So in terms of essential skills, I've divided the skills into 3. So I'm going to talk about the first part of the skills. And these are core HR competencies. There is need for you to have these core HR competencies. Number 1, talent management. You need to understand cross-border recruitment. There was someone who talked about when we are asking, what do you understand by global HR leadership? You know, the person talked about knowing things about different regions, countries, and all that. So you need to understand cross-border recruitment. You need to understand remote onboarding and diverse retention strategies. There is no just one type of retention strategy. So you need to understand all this, okay? So talent management is a core HR competency that you must have. The next one is data and digital HR competency. You must know how to read HR metrics. You must know how to use HR tech tools. You must know how to analyze data for decision. So for you to succeed as a global HR leader, data should drive the decisions that you make. And you can only get to use that data if you are skilled in using digital tools to harness this data together. Employee experience is also key. You can see that in the current organization where I work, my mantra is to build a people-first organization. And in building a people-first organization, employee experience is key. And the employee experience does not just start with the people who are currently in the organization, even those who want to join, the applicants, the candidates that are coming, that are applying to your place, they need to begin to experience, have a very good experience of the organization before they even come in, okay? So tailor experiences for different generations, nationalities, and values. Then compliance and ethics is also very critical. There's need for you to know global labor standards. Get a copy of the ILO standards, okay? Get a copy of the GDPR. You need to know things about them. So there could be the data protection rules in your country, but also understand the global data protection rules, right? And then anti-harassment policies, basically compliance issues globally. There's need for you to understand and know so much about this. So these are the core HR competencies that I think you need to make sure that you educate yourself and have good knowledge of. Now, the next one, you call them soft skills, but I call them power skills, okay? Why do I call them power skills? Because those are the skills that will help move you forward. So you acquire the HR competencies, but you need these power skills to remain at the top and to become better. So number 1 is emotional intelligence. You must be emotionally aware, okay? And this is very, very key for cross-cultural communication. If you're not emotionally aware, there was an example I gave somewhere. So someone cracked a joke with someone from it to crack a joke about a person who is from a different culture. And that guy felt very offended by that joke. It was just a harmless joke, you know. But the person felt that, okay, it looks as if this person has something in mind, and that's why they're using me as an example to crack that particular joke. So you need to be emotionally aware. If you are not emotionally aware, you will have, or emotionally intelligent, you have challenges with working with people from different cultures, because something you think is harmless is going to be serious. Just like in Nigeria, we have this greeting where we say, "How was your night?" Okay. In Nigeria, you say that to a Nigerian, the person will not feel bad. When you say, "How was your night?" to a European or an American, the person will be wondering, why do you want to know what happened during my night? Why are you interested? The person will take an offense, right? But for a Nigerian, he will feel, you're just asking whether they slept well or not. But to some other person, they will feel offended that you want to know the activity that took place during the night while you were not there. Okay? So we need to be emotional aware. Then communication is also key. There is a saying that says that goes this way: everything rises and falls on communication. So communication is key. The tone, the words that you use can make or mar that relationship between you and the people that you're working with. So articulate complex ideas simply and respectfully. Find a simple way to communicate so that people understand what you want to pass. Then influence. I call this influence stakeholder management. Is very, very key. In some cases, you can call it office politics. Okay. So influence is key. For you to succeed as a global HR leader, you need to be able to gain the buy-in for your HR strategies from the lowest person to the topmost person in that organization. And if you're not able to carry everybody along, you might not be able to implement that beautiful HR initiative that you have in mind, okay? So influence is very key. You need to learn, how do I influence people? How do I lead people who are above me? How do I lead people who are below me? How do I lead my peers, okay? Then resilience is another key. Resilience. Because change is constant, policies change, markets shift, people evolve, you need to be resilient. Don't be easily swayed or moved. Okay? You need to be resilient to succeed in spite of all the challenges that are going on around with the noise. You don't allow those things to move you or sway you, but you stay focused and continue to push until you get to the destination. So these are the power skills that I wanted to share with us. And again, because we are HR newbies, right? I have bonus for the newbies. And so what are the bonuses that I have for the newbies? Number one, for newbies in HR, you need to learn how to manage up. Make your boss job easier. Okay? If your boss is always complaining about your job, then it means you don't understand your boss. You need to sit down and understand your boss and help to make the job easier. So sometimes you notice that you are given so much task to carry out, and then you complain that this my boss is very wicked, he's giving me too much work. And when I finish doing the work, he doesn't even give me credit for doing the work. Don't let that bother you. What you are doing is that as you continue to make your boss look good outside, your boss will not be able to do without you. When you are not around, they will miss your presence and they'll be looking for you to come back. So that is helping to build. And at the end of the day, you will have acquired more skills, more than you actually need. And at the end of the day, that is something that's going to help to propel you to become the global HR leader that you seek or aspire to be. Practice critical thinking. Don't just do HR tasks. Try to understand, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why is this course of action? Why are we taking this course of action? Okay? So practice critical thinking. Always understand the why behind every action and decision. Develop digital fluency. Excel for me is generally the first one every HR person must know how to use. Because when you know how to use Excel, you can mine a lot of data, you can produce, you can mine data that will help you make decisions. Okay, so that whenever you're making or recommending an initiative, it is supported buy data. So make sure you are digital fluent. HR tools, social media, all these are non-negotiables, okay? Don't say, I don't know how to use Excel. If you don't know, today, go and start looking for how to use Excel. Look for HR software, learn how to use one or two, even if you don't have them in your organization. Learn how to use the social media to showcase what you are doing so you become visible to the world. So those are the bonus for the newbies. Okay, so we've talked about mindset, we've talked about skills, and now we're going to get to the last part of my presentation, which is the strategies, right? What strategies do you need to build global relevance? So I'm going to address the strategies according to the different categories. So this first part of strategies will apply to all the levels, whether you're a student, you are entry level or graduate, entry level, mid level, senior, or transitioning. Okay, these strategies will apply to you. So you need to make sure you have a professional certification. So you need an international professional certification from HRCI or CIPD. This will help boost your credibility and global exposure. Secondly, you need to build a global network. And I keep saying, LinkedIn is the best platform for you to be able to do that. Okay? Connect on LinkedIn with global HR leaders. So you can start by connecting with me and then look out for others. Join webinars, join forums, join HR associations, okay? And then participate. There was a time during that lockdown, I was always on Twitter then. There's this Twitter chats every now and then. Someone will host a Twitter chat and I'll be there. On LinkedIn, there are several groups. People will post questions on those LinkedIn groups. I'll try to be the first person to address that challenge. Those are some of the things that made me very visible, okay? And those are things that I would encourage you to do. So if you check on LinkedIn today, I have over 460,000 followers, all because of the things that I share and contribute in different groups. So people began to follow me and learn from me, okay? Then there's need for you to stay informed. You need to read magazines like the Harvard Business Review. The HRCI has a newsletter. Get hold of that and try to read it. All these are available online. There's a publication from McKinsey. There's a publication from Jos Beshin. There are several publications from Gartner, several of them. So stay informed, okay? Read all this. And then there's need for you to follow trends also. Follow trends about AI in HR, hybrid work models, global well-being practices, okay? Try to stay informed. What is the latest thing in HR? Read them and see how you can apply them in your workplace. Then there's also need for you to volunteer. If you look through my LinkedIn profile, you see that I volunteer for several organizations. Today, I'm volunteering for the CIPM here in Nigeria, volunteering for HRCI, I volunteer for several other organizations, okay? So that's what you need to do. So offer HR support to international NGOs and startups. Use platforms like these ones that I've listed here, Catch a Fire, Volunteer Match, or even LinkedIn. You will find organizations that you can volunteer with. Personal branding. On my YouTube channel, I have something where I talked about, there's a YouTube short that I shared, some videos about how to build your brand while also building your career. I encourage everyone to get that video, watch it, and pick out the lessons there and apply them, okay? So personal branding is key. Personal branding and thought leadership. So there's need for you to share your learning journey. If you look through my LinkedIn, you see that each time I attend the course, I try to share my takeaway from that particular course, okay? That's what you need to do. By the time we finish this session today, share your takeaway from this session, okay? Write LinkedIn posts, speak at HR events, post HR short videos. These are the things that will sell you to the world. And before you know it, people will be calling for you in every corner of the globe. Show what you know. The world is watching. If you don't show what you know, take Coca-Cola, for instance. Till today, Coca-Cola is still advertising. Is it because people don't know Coca-Cola? No. If you stop talking about yourself, people will begin to forget you. So you need to keep sharing what you know, okay? Show what you know so that the world will see you. When you start, maybe people will not engage, people will not engage with your posts or respond or react to it, don't bother. Just keep sharing, keep sharing. One day, something will happen. Okay. Just last week, I noticed something. You know, I've always shared on Facebook. I didn't even realize that Facebook has a monetization policy. Then suddenly I just got a message from Facebook that I'm now eligible for monetization because of the things that I share. And I wasn't looking out for it. I didn't even know it existed, you know? So, and they just told me that, oh, you're eligible. You need to click this button for us to proceed. So now, it means that for whatever I share on Facebook, they'll be paying me money. As people view and read what I share, I'll be earning money. So that's possible. So share what you know, because you never know. That could be another source of passive income for you. So what are some custom strategies depending on your category? So if you're a student, what do you do? Join HR student clubs. In Nigeria, I know CIPM has HR student clubs. So find out one in your country or the city where you are. If there are HR student clubs, join them if you're a student, okay? Attend HR webinars and start to blog. So I have a blog site. When I started my HR with EM brand, HR with EM, I was asking myself, okay, when I wanted to start blogging, what do I call it? That was how I came up with the HR with EM. Okay, I'll call the blog HR with EM. So HR with EM actually started as a blog before it became my brand, which is now registered. So it's now a registered brand, and that's the community that I'm building. So everything I do is now under HR. So start a blog. And what do you share on your blog? Anything that you learn, okay? Fresh graduates, look for opportunities for internship, shadow professionals, get certifications, right? For the entry-level people who are on this call, ask for cross-functional projects, learn HR tech, very, very key. Learn how you can use AI, okay, to help you. Then mid-level, lead initiatives, mentor juniors, build your global HR knowledge. And for the seniors here, join global HR councils. Look for global HR councils and begin to join them, okay? Contribute thought leadership. And for those who are switching career, my advice to you or tips is that you should leverage those skills that you've acquired that can be transferred, okay? Your communication skill, strategy, take courses, and seek internships. So there are certain barriers that would want to stop you from becoming a global HR leader. So let's look at some of these barriers and what you need to do to overcome them, okay? So barrier number one is the imposter syndrome. I remember when I was giving my first HR role, I wasn't sure whether I was going to succeed or fail, you know? I had that fear in me, okay? And the thought in me was, it looks as if I'm not good enough to lead globally, okay? When that opportunity is given to you, you're wondering, are you really good enough to lead globally? Okay? What is the solution? You need to have at the back of your mind that everyone starts as a beginner. So because everyone starts as a beginner, begin to build confidence through competence. Okay? As you do the job, you get better, you do the job. If you are waiting until when you are better before you start, you will never start. So you need to start now. Begin to share. Don't say, I don't have enough to share. I don't know so much to begin to share things about HR. Share that little thing that you know. There is someone there who doesn't know as much as you know, and you'll be helping that particular person. Okay? And as you grow, you'll be helping to pull up that particular person. So that's how you overcome the first barrier, which is the imposter syndrome. And the second one is lack of exposure. Like I told you, when I started, I had zero global influence, right? So you can say to yourself, I've never worked outside the country, so how am I going to be known all over the world? Now I'm known all over the world, and I'm getting awards recognizing me as top 11 globally, okay? Top 100 in the whole world. You need to start by working with people from other countries, either working with them online, attending global HR webinars. You begin to engage with people in other countries. So that's how you overcome your lack of exposure. And before you know it, people will begin to know you everywhere. People will know you. Before I got into HRCI, okay, they already knew me from my work on LinkedIn. And so when I visited the US, by the time I planned to visit the US, I was going for a course in Harvard in the US. And I sent them a mail that I'll be visiting the US. And they said, if you're coming to the US, try as much as possible to visit our office. So that was, I hadn't even written the HRCI exam. So I got there, I got to the office, I met the person who was in charge of the international exams, and they said to me, you need to write the exam because we want you to be very active. We've seen so much that you're doing on LinkedIn, in the HR space, and we want you to volunteer your time for HRCI. But the condition is that you need to have written our exam. That was in 2015. And then I came back, made sure I write the exam. By 2016, immediately I wrote the exam and I said, okay, I've passed. I said, okay, we have an assignment for you. And that was how I started volunteering. Okay. So begin to work with people online, attend global webinars that will expose you to other people. They will get to discover you even before they begin to work with you. So if you, next barrier could be that you don't have enough resources, okay? You now say, okay, but I don't have certification, they're expensive. You can't register for any of these international certifications. You need to start with free resources. There are free resources available on Coursera, free resources available on LinkedIn Learning, free resources available on some HR blogs. Start with those ones while you are saving, okay? And then when you saved enough, then you can go ahead and take these international certifications. And then maybe you say, okay, but I don't have someone to mentor me. And some people have been writing me, they want me to mentor them, they want me to mentor them. So you don't have a mentor, right? I don't know anyone in global HR. This is a lie, because if you connect to someone on LinkedIn, you're likely going to connect to someone who knows someone, okay? So reach out to global HR leaders on LinkedIn. Follow thought leaders on LinkedIn. Join HR communities like this HR Newbies. That's a good community to join. And you also find some global HR leaders participating or facilitating sessions. Like for everyone who is joining today, this is an opportunity for you to connect with me, right? And as you connect with me, you also automatically be connected to them. So these are 4 barriers that I wanted to share with us and what you need to do to overcome those barriers. So what's my call to action to you as we come to a close now? My closing thoughts is that becoming a global HR leader doesn't start with a job abroad. It starts with a mindset shift from survival to significance, from tasks to transformation. So that's my closing thought for you. And there are 3 quick wins which I want you to write down. Write these 3 down and do them today. Okay? There is need for you to follow 3 global HR thought leaders as we go into the new week. Follow, just say to yourself, 3 global HR, identify those 3 and follow them. Then before the end of this month, join a free online HR event. And then finally, share 1 HR insight on LinkedIn to start your personal brand. These are 3 quick wins which you can do today, and you're already on your journey to becoming a global HR leader. So take a screenshot of what you're seeing and get this done. When you do any of this, feel free to tag me. I will leave a comment or repost or reshare what you are sharing. Okay. So my final quote to you today is that your career is not a ladder. It's a launch pad. HR is your vehicle. The world is your destination. So I'd like us to watch this video. Let me think. I hope the video plays before we leave. Let's hope that the video plays. Good.
Welcome to HR with EM, your partner in leadership excellence. Are you a leader struggling to inspire your team? Are you an organization seeking to improve productivity and growth? At HR with EM, we offer tailored solutions to address your leadership challenges. Our expertise includes leadership coaching, unlock your potential, leadership development, build a cohesive leadership team, HR consulting, optimize your organization's growth. Partner with us to enhance leadership skills, boost employee engagement, drive business growth, and improve organizational culture. Ready to unlock your leadership potential? Contact us today. HR with EM, empowering leaders, transforming organizations.
So feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So the URL is there, is HR with EM -TV. Okay, https://bit.ly/HR with EM -TV. You will find that YouTube channel, YouTube video that I talked about on personal branding and building your career. Feel free to connect with me across all social media platforms. I think I'm almost on most of them. So on X, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, right? I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and what else? Snapchat. I think I'm on all those. So feel free to connect with me on whichever one you are comfortable. So my invitation to you today is let's connect, let's grow, and let's make HR truly global, starting from where you are. So thank you very much. That's all that I have for us. I'll be glad to take your questions and then provide some answers to it. Thank you. Over to you, Agape.
Hello. Please let the emojis start coming in. I mean, let's flood. God, we ate well this night. I mean, or this evening. Well, it's almost night. We ate well. Let the emojis start coming in the comment section. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Michael. I mean, I have to go back. Even myself, I have to go back to this recording. And thank goodness this session was recorded, so you can actually go back to Mr. Emmanuel's YouTube channel to watch it, or you can even go to the HR Newbies. We have a YouTube page. So this will be our first video that we will use to launch our YouTube page. So thank you so much. I mean, it was practical enough. He came down to our level. You broke down everything in practical terms and realistic also. And the fact that you're even offering guidance and you're telling us to, you know how we see you. You say, Emmanuel, with all of these certifications and awards, I mean, 400 and something on LinkedIn. Most of us were even struggling for 1,000 followers and connections on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. I mean, this is amazing. This is amazing. We are grateful. Words cannot explain. So at this point, you have the opportunity to ask your questions. Mr. Emmanuel has given you the privilege, the opportunity. Please take advantage of it. Ask your questions, whatever questions you have. Ask your questions. You can indicate by raising your hand, and then we'll call you one after the other. If you're in a noisy environment, you can make use of the chat box, and then we will respond to you. Who is going first? Isaiah. Isaiah's hand is up. Hello, Isaiah. Your volume is quite low. Hello, can you hear us? Your volume is low. You can make use of the chat box if you can't speak out, please. Who is going next? At this point, I'm expecting or we are expecting questions from every participant. Every participant. Like he said, the HR Newbies community is not just students or graduates or entry level. At any level you are, there are questions you need to ask, and there are areas he touched that pertained to you. So please ask your questions. Asking questions is already, it's a sign that you actually understand, you are following up, and then you need more enlightenment.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Lisa.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
For mine is not a question, but it's just a word of appreciation to Mr. Emmanuel. As indicated, I'm from Namibia, and the things he shared are actually practical lessons, and I just want to give a testimony of how being connected or positioning yourself helps, because I've followed him for some time on LinkedIn, And the day he followed me back, I couldn't believe it. I was like, one of the most 100 influential leaders was exciting. And I'll follow him on Twitter and I'll just see that he's a human being, he likes to walk mostly 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, raises money for. So also the global impact and also the things he does for those within Nigeria, the communities giving back. It's very, and I had an opportunity when I needed speakers to present. He was one of the people I reached out to, and immediately he said yes without even being paid. So, and I've benefited in so many ways from him in terms of mentoring, coaching. If I need a question, he's always there, he's always available. So it's just for those who are new in HR, those that are experienced in HR, there's nothing like um there's power in networks, there's power in connecting with those who know more than us. So it's just a word of appreciation and a thank you and a testimony to say there's quite a lot. And I've connected with so many people from Nigeria. Every time there was a webinar, I'd connect, and I've learned so many things from an HR perspective. The Yapa syndrome, things I couldn't learn in Namibia, but now I get to understand, oh, these are some of the HR trends happening in West Africa. So how do I relate that to Southern Africa? So thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm excited to see that you joined us.
What about
Thank you
yourself?
very much.
The only
Isaiah, Isaiah, are you speaking?
what is the key for you?
I don't think he's actually speaking. I think he's distracted. Azaya, please, can you mute your mic? Thank you. It's difficult these days. Thank you, Lisa, for that amazing feedback. I'm glad to have you join this webinar. We're so excited. And yes, I can relate to what she said about Mr. Emmanuel. Um, it's difficult these days for you to see top HR professionals. I mean, with all the notes of awards and recognitions, the heights he has gotten to, for them to follow you back. I mean, come down to your level. I'm willing to help you. Like Lisa mentioned, this is a free webinar. I mean, I was thinking of he was the first person that came to my mind when I was like, okay, I need to host webinars for my HR newbies community. And I was like, okay, Mr. Emmanuel is here. How do I even reach out to him? How I kept thinking, should I send him an email? Should I go to his LinkedIn DM? He's even going to respond because most people they don't even respond to DMs. And the opportunity I had was when he commented on one of my posts, and it was like, congratulations, you're doing well for HR newbies. I was like, interesting. So Mr. Emmanuel, someone like Mr. Emmanuel can actually notice what we are doing and what I'm doing. And that was my go-to ticket. So thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for all that you do for the HR newbies space. I mean, for the HR space in general, not just HR newbies. You're truly graceful. And thank you, Lisa, for joining. Who else is raising their hands? Moses.
Okay, hi. Good evening, everyone, again. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. It's such a privilege to uh, share same name with you. And of course, I'm glad I joined this webinar courtesy your post, Mr. Emmanuel, on your WhatsApp page, which I belong to. My question is just around certification and um, going for a master's, right? Which would you, what would you have to say concerning that? Should one rather prioritize going for a master's ahead of maybe CIPM or, of course, maybe CIPD, which is the UK, or So my question is not which one is more important, but which one should someone pursue first and then back it up with the other. So I'm saying that should someone do a master's first and then back it up with CIPM, or do a CIPM first and back it up with masters? That's just my question. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so if you ask me, I'll say do both. Do both. Okay, do both. So for you to
Okay, sir.
do a master's, usually depending on the type of master's. So if it's an MSc, it might not really need some sort of work experience before you do an MBA. But if it's an MBA, I would recommend you get some work experience before you proceed to do an MBA. For certification, my recommendation is usually get some sort of experience, except you're doing a foundational international HR certification. So those foundational international HR certification will only give you some sort of theoretical knowledge around the subject on international HR. So you don't have to wait to have a master's before you do that. So I would say look at what is your objective. Am I trying to get a foundational knowledge, or do I want to get this organization to assess my experience, right? Before you take a certification. So if you have the means to do both, I will say go ahead and do both.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Well answered and well understood.
Okay, thank you for the question. We have people on the queue who are raising their hands, but before that, Jude sent in a question and he's asking, it's Paul, please, can you mute your mic? Thank you. So Jude is asking, thank you for the wonderful presentation. As someone transitioning from business development to HR, what line should I toe to enable me thrive and be productive? Jude Uzodima.
Sorry, the person say what line or what should they
Yes,
do?
for someone, as someone transitioning from business development to HR, what line should I toe to enable me thrive and be productive?
Okay, so like I said, the question you need to ask yourself is what sort of transferable skills do you currently have in business development, which you want to use in HR? So if you're a business development, so let's say, for instance, you have sales skills, right? So sales skills is needed for you to be able to sell the initiative. So get the buy-in of the stakeholders. So there are stakeholders within the organization. So it means that in addition to that communication skill which you have as a business development person, you'll be able to craft all those employee engagement memos, emails. It means that you'll be able to organize events for the HR department. So maybe there are well-being programs, there are staff parties. Because you're a salesperson, you are very good at bringing people together. So that could be something that you want to do in HR. So when you find yourself in the HR department, then you get yourself involved with all those activities that will enable you bring people together, share an idea of what we want to do, get their buy-in, and then we roll out that particular program. So you can be an HR business partner. It means that you don't need to learn the foundations of HR in addition to the communication skills that you have, and that will help you to be able to sell the idea. So I don't know if I've been able to help you.
Hello, Jude, can you speak? Okay, I think I've seen his emoji, so he's good. Okay, so before we go back to the chat box, we have people on the queue. Adebukola Alagbe, please can you unmute your mic and ask your question?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful section, sir. So I have a question as HR newbies. Okay, I'll just make an instance. I'll make it very brief. Okay, I started as a HR assistant, and I was working under my boss then, but after like 5 months, he resigned. So I was the only one left. So, but before he left, I was able to learn one or two things. And for about another 5 months, I was the only one there managing the whole HR operations. So I was able to grow. Though I have someone supervising and monitoring me, but the person is not HR professional. So due to change in management and also I had to leave the organization and I applied for another role as HR assistant. So on getting there, when I resumed, I noticed I was not assisting anybody. I am the HR there. So initially, I wanted to decline the offer, but at some point, I'm like, okay, let me just take the boost and let's see how it goes, if it is something I can do. So I started well and all, but the management, they are this is like she's someone that doesn't like, I don't know, maybe she sees me as a young person. So everything I bring to the table is not really making sense to her. So but I know deep down that I'm doing the right thing, but she's just looking down on me, kind of. So currently, my question is I am stuck because I feel like I'm not really doing well, like I'm not growing. Everything I do is just being torn down. So I just want to seek advice on what to do. Yes, that's my question.
Okay, so very simple, straightforward. You need to have a mentor because you don't have. When I started my HR career, my job title was assistant HR manager, but I was the lead HR person in that organization. So I was the number one HR person. Notwithstanding that my job title was assistant HR manager. So the person who hired me automatically became my mentor. So I go back to him from time to time when I have any challenge. So you need to find someone who is senior, who will guide you, even though your title is HR assistant and the lead HR person. So when I became the assistant HR manager, within the space of 6 months, I moved from assistant HR manager to become HR manager because I learned very fast and I was able to implement most of the things that I was learning. I was also reading very well. So you need to read. You don't wait to be given. So to read, to understand, even though you are HR assistant, because you are the lead HR person, you need to take that initiative and then begin to identify how does my role impact the activities in this organization, and then how can I help the organization to achieve its goals. Okay, so have someone who is senior, who you can relate with. The person becomes your mentor. The person will guide you, and you can then go back to your organization, begin to test some of those ideas that you are sharing with your mentor. That will help you to grow. So this place that you find yourself is a very good fertile ground for you to be able to prove yourself. And if you're able to prove yourself very well, if the organization is not recognizing the impact that you are making, okay, some of the things you acquire, you can actually use it elsewhere. So it's I think it's a very good ground where you can test and fail and eventually become the best HR professional that you can be. So get a senior who will mentor you, and then the person will keep guiding you, and you'll be able to see yourself doing great and wonderful things in this particular organization. So that's my advice to you. Okay, so I will have a hard stop at exactly 6. So which means we have maybe 5 minutes to 6. That's when we'll stop. So on the screen, you will see that I've displayed the YouTube channel. The replay is actually right now on that YouTube channel because we're streaming live on YouTube, right? So you can go back to it. You can share that particular link for those who maybe are not here, who want to watch, who you feel you watch, or you for yourself, you want to rewatch the whole session. it's already available on the YouTube channel, and that's the channel ID displayed. And then if there are questions, by the time we get to 5:55 and we're not able to take all the questions, please send them. If you're on the HR newbie community, send them to Agape. She'll put them all together. Maybe she'll send to me, and then we'll find a way to provide answers, and she'll share with the team. So I expect Agatha is going to share the link for those who want to join her community, and then you can take it from there. So back to you, Agatha. Agape, sorry, change your name.
No problem. You can do anything you want, Mr. Emmanuel. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you so much. I mean, 2 hours, yeah, 2 hours, almost 2 hours of learning from you. Like I said, it's been insightful, it's been amazing. So you've all heard Mr. Emmanuel. Whatever questions you have, please write them down and send to the community group. If you check the chat box, I have dropped the link to join our community. So there's a registration form you would need to fill, and by the time you fill it, you will gain access to the community. So write down your questions, and all your questions will be channeled to Mr. Emmanuel, and you will get response to your questions. Also, the replay, like he has stated, you can visit the replay as many times as possible. I mean, this is something that I think once in a month you should actually revisit it, so that it's going to spark that desire to becoming or to practicing being a global HR leader. The YouTube link is displayed for, like I mentioned earlier, for HR newbies. You can check our YouTube page. We are going to upload it on our YouTube page. And Mr. Emmanuel has been so kind enough to offer you a connection, so you can reach out to him on any of his platforms, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then he's going to connect with you, and you can reach out to him one-on-one, ask questions. So thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel, for this opportunity. Also, I think it was also part of his slide, his presentation. As much as you can, please go on LinkedIn and blast LinkedIn what you learned today. Use the hashtag Global HR Leader Webinar, hashtag Global Leader HR Webinar. Tag Mr. Emmanuel, tag HR Newbies, and tag Agape. And I'm promising you, every one of us, we are going to respond, and we are going to react, we are going to engage. Like he said, you have to be visible, right? You have to be visible. So you don't have to eat all of these things. You've eaten well, you've been fed well, this good food. So go out and spread the news. What was your major takeaway? Put it out there and start sharing your stories. You are inspiring others, whether you like it or not, or maybe you don't even understand it. So go out, share, tag Mr. Emmanuel, tag HR Newbies, tag me, and we are going to respond. For those in the HR Newbies community, we are going to continue our training. More activities are coming up. Announcements will be made on our community group. If you want to join the HR Newbies community, it's free. It's a dynamic community which accepts HRs aspiring, practicing from all walks of life, from all countries. So you can actually reach out by clicking on the registration link, and then we'll get back to you. Like I said, it's been amazing. I mean, if you enjoyed this session, this is the time for you to start using your favorite emoji, and then start thanking Mr. Emmanuel on the chat box, using the chat box. You have been fed. You have been fed. I can't get over this. I mean, every day I need to visit and then start thinking of steps, strategic steps to take, the mindset, and every other thing in between. There's an assignment Mr. Emmanuel gave, so please don't forget. When you've done the assignments, reach out to him. Enjoy your day, and see you online. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Have a very, very, very wonderful day. Thank you so much. I think we've come to the end of today's session. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you, everyone, for joining. For those who joined from Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Aba, Port Harcourt, Ogun State, wherever you joined from, Canada, UK, Namibia, Zambia, Ghana, South Africa. We see all of you and we love you all. Thank you so much. Bye.